Hey everybody, it's Mike Sullivan with Born to Shine. Today we have a super rock star, awesome guest. Her name is Maureen Taggart, and she is a pretty big deal. She is the superintendent at a school district in Toronto, Ohio, not Toronto, Canada, Toronto, Ohio. And we're just really blessed to have Maureen with us today. So Maureen, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend it with us today.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate the invitation. I have been in Toronto, Ohio my entire life. I was a student in the Toronto City School District, went all the way through from kindergarten to graduating, and then came back to teach. This is my 30th year being employed in the Toronto City School District.
Wow.
I worked as a teacher for 8 years, a technology coordinator for 5 years, a principal for 11 years before I moved to the district office. And this is my 5th year as superintendent in Toronto.
Okay, so you're like a rock star. We got it. Okay, super cool. You've done it all. That's awesome. And then, growing up as a kid, um, I personally really struggled with being bullied, and it all started, well, actually, I always say third grade, but now that I think about it, it was kind of the middle of second grade and third grade, it started to get worse. And that just exacerbated my anxiety and the depression that I was already going through. So, our listeners are school admin, teachers, parents, and kiddos as well. So, and they love hearing when someone like you that's really successful and has a really high position and has a lot of responsibility, they love to see the human side, right? So, is there anything you're comfortable sharing that you may have struggled with a little bit as a kiddo too?
I would say that for me, it started back in 7th grade. During that time, it was the early 80s, and that is when there was a lot of unemployment, and my father had lost his job. And that
Mm,
was probably at that point was the most devastating thing that had ever happened to me as a child. I'm trying not to get emotional when I think about it, but it was a very traumatic event. And I think when we look at children today, those are the types of things that cause trauma in their lives: a parent losing a job, divorce,
mhm.
having to move to a different location, a death in the family. So for me, that was a very traumatic event.
Yeah.
And it really changed our lifestyle. And it created a sense of vulnerability for me that I'd never experienced before. So
Mm,
now I had that anxiety because I wasn't certain whether we would have food that month or whether we would have new clothes to start the school year. It became very difficult
oh.
in our household at
I'm
that.
so sorry, Maureen. Yeah, I can only imagine because that would really pump up the anxiety, thinking of just the essentials, right? Are we going to have food today? Are we going to have clothes? And you were seven, so what, 12 years old ish?
Yeah, yeah, 12 going to be 13. And
Yeah.
so you know how important it is with your friend group, that you're wearing the right clothes, that you're able to go and participate in this in the right activities. And so it caused me to be very self-conscious and very anxious about whether I'd be able to fit in with my peers. So,
Yeah.
of course, what comes along with that is there is a certain bullying, teasing, that kind of thing. You know, whether you have the wrong shoes on or the wrong pair of jeans or what have you. So I experienced that during my junior high years.
Wow. And then was there, I can totally relate, Maureen. You're saying I had the wrong everything on. I had the wrong, apparently I had the wrong pants. I rolled them up the wrong way. I had the wrong shoes. I had the wrong, everything was wrong. Right. So I didn't fit in at all. So I can empathize with you on that. I felt that all the time. Like, why don't I fit in? What is wrong with me? And so I totally get it. And was there someone in your life that kind of acted almost like the hero? Was it maybe your mom or your dad or a teacher or counselor or maybe even a dog? So I hear all kinds of stories that just feel like my bird helped me through this, or my dog. Was there someone that or maybe a group of people that really helped you through that?
Well, school was always my sanctuary. I loved to go to school, which is probably one of the reasons why I went into education to begin with.
Yeah.
So I had phenomenal teachers
Mm.
were terrific mentors that helped me realize that those superficial things like clothing or shoes or what have you, that's not what's important. It's really the content of your character. And so for me, I was able to channel my energy into academics and athletics. I ran track and also music. I played an
Oh,
instrument, was in the band.
what do you
And
play?
so
What instrument?
I played saxophone and I played drums.
Woodwinds. Whoa, sax and drums.
Yeah.
That's cool. Sweet.
So, those are sort of special relationships that you form with coaches and that you form with band directors because you have them for many years over the course of your educational career. And so those teachers really stepped up and fulfilled a role for me that wasn't just about academics and teaching, but also inspiring me to focus on what my goals were and what my end game was, what I wanted to do with my life.
That's amazing. That is so cool. I'm still geeking out on the fact that you played saxophone and drums. That's pretty cool. You're like a double threat because my brother Tim plays drums and we grew up in a musical home as well, right? My mom played piano and
Oh, nice.
my yeah, it was great. And he played drums and I played clarinet. So you and I kind of would have sat in a similar kind of section, the woodwind
Oh, yeah.
section.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm with you because you develop friendships and relationships with the people sitting next to you, right? Because I remember how they had chairs, like first chair, second
Oh,
chair,
yeah.
third. Yeah. And so it's neat because you're sitting next to each other and learning the music together. And yeah. How did you do it? Just out of curiosity, how did you so were you sometimes playing the sax and then sometimes you'd be in the drum section?
So I always like a challenge. And so I played first chair for concert band for saxophone,
Whoa, okay, you were
which was
good.
very important to me. And I
Yeah.
was very competitive, and we had to try out to earn our chair
Right.
when
I
I was
remember
in
that.
band.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So, but then the band director was looking for someone for marching season to play percussion. So I was like, oh, I'll take a chance and I'll do that. And my sister was also in the band and played several instruments too. So it really wasn't unusual in our band back in the day.
Wow.
Those friendships that you form, not just with your director and with your teachers that you have and your coaches that you have over years, with the people that you become very good friends, almost family, with your fellow band members. So that was extremely helpful to have their support and to know, when I went for my first day of high school, I already had 80 friends because I was in the band and we had gone to camp and we rehearsed for a month before band started. And so that made that transition much more just smoother, easier for me as a student.
Yeah, absolutely. That I love that. That's so cool, Maureen, because you and I, when we were kids, like you were saying, the kids would, you know, pick on everyone really for if they didn't have the right clothes or the right whatever, right? All that silly stuff. And then we're trying to find our tribe, like trying to find
Mhm.
like, hey, I don't feel like I fit in here. But hearing you say that, I love that because you found your tribe, the creative musical little geniuses, and you became friends with them. And that's where you're like, I feel like I fit in here. And I felt the same way. Same with music. That really was a huge part of me feeling like I finally had a space that I connected with others and we loved the same thing and felt like I fit
Right.
in. So I yeah, you're the first guest that's actually a superintendent that shared that they were in band as well. So I love that. That's super cool.
So
Um,
going back to that time, my
yes,
mother was also very influential. She was
cool.
a very strong woman. She was a stay-at-home mom. And, she really instilled in us to, she wouldn't let us take those comments to heart. Why are you listening to those people? Do you really value their opinion? Are they important to you? She really just helped us to develop a strong sense of self,
Mhm.
self confidence, self respect. And a lot of that, of course, the typical just ignore it. I heard that a lot, and that
Yeah.
was valuable. Really, like if you can't do anything else, you can remove yourself from the situation.
Yeah.
So that was a wonderful coping mechanism when I was in junior high because I didn't
Um,
have to stay around those people. I could
right.
remove myself from the situation and take ownership of it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
The other part of that was developing friendships with people that shared the same interests, like we were talking about. And if you're not alone, it's more difficult to become a target of bullying when you surround yourself with other people.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's one thing that I would like to see more of is that you have the bystanders step up and advocate for their friends.
Hmm.
You don't see that a lot of times, but I would really like to see children, young adults be more empowered to stand up for their friends. And I'm not saying getting into an altercation or anything like that, but helping them remove themselves from the situation, helping them report if there's a problem, because that's a difficult thing to do when you're in junior high or when you're in elementary school or even in high school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I wish they had that when I was a kid. I don't think they had where you could report it. And that's so cool now. I've seen some districts with here's a bullying report, fill it out. And you think, wow, that's incredible. That's going to help put a stop to things, or at least, get the conversation going with the
Right. In
kids,
our
with the
school district,
parents.
yeah, in our school district, our students, they can report anonymously
Mm,
via text,
perfect. Great.
email, or a hotline. So
Wow.
that was always one of the obstacles that students would share with us is that they didn't feel comfortable coming forward and reporting because they feared retaliation.
Repercussions. Yeah,
Yes. So
totally.
now they don't even have to give their name. So
Wow.
they can text us video, they can text us pictures, they can text us just a message, they can do that via email, and they can also call us and let us know that there's an issue.
Love that. That is good for you guys. What a wonderful lifeline that is for some little boy or little girl that's getting picked on and bullied, and they feel like they don't have like a big brother or big sister or someone to be, they have their back and just
Right.
support them. So what a cool system. That's awesome. And what are some other cool things you're doing? Because that actually you beat me to the question, Maureen. I was going to ask, what are some of the unique things you're doing to support your kiddos with their mental health? And that's an awesome one that you just shared. Do you have any other really unique things
So
you want to share?
sure. So when I became a superintendent back in 2017, the first year I worked on getting a school-based health center established in our school district.
Hmm.
So we have a school-based health center that has a full-time nurse practitioner, a full-time medical assistant, and two social workers that are on site every single day. That has been so instrumental, not only for the students, but their families and our staff,
Hmm.
because everyone has access to not just medical care, but mental health care as well. So they provide counseling, they provide crisis management for us if we have, a stressful situation that's going on where we need their intervention. For years, clear back when I was a principal, we had partnered with outside agencies. And so there's a lot of students that want to participate in counseling and their parents want them to, but maybe they can't transport them off site. And so we've given office space in a room, conference room for agencies to come in
Mm,
and have their counseling session on site at our school district. And
awesome.
so we've done that for, my goodness, at least 15 years that I'm aware of, maybe more. And so we still have those outside agencies that come in. So you're not just restricted to using our school-based health center clinicians. We also have other counselors that come in and meet with children and provide counseling services as well.
Well, it's obvious why you are the superintendent, Maureen. You're a great leader, and you actually have something that you went through personally in 7th grade that I'm sure fires you up to really make sure the kiddos are getting all the support they need. So yeah, you're awesome. That this was great. I
Thank you.
mean, no, thank you. And is there anything that maybe you'd like to share that I left out or didn't ask a question like, I wish you would have asked this? Is there any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our
Well,
listeners?
yeah, sure. So for me, I think to be successful in any kind of role, you have to remember your why. And I
Hmm.
know that you've probably heard that statement
Hmm.
before,
Hmm.
but I really have a personal connection to my school district. I'm here because I want to provide all of the opportunities that were provided for me as a student. And I had, like I said before, phenomenal educators, teachers who reached out to me, who mentored me. Neither one of my parents went to college. I had no direction or guidance in that area from home. And so I had that support at school. So I just want to make sure that those kids that come into the school district, that we're filling in all the gaps. So if it's medical care they don't have access to, if it's mental health services, whatever the gap is, we want to fill it in and we want to be there to provide that for them. And as I said, I personally feel that because that was what was done for me. The other thing is I've had terrific mentors over the course of my career in the school district. I didn't think that I would ever be a school superintendent, but I had mentors along the way who would plant that seed and say, you know, I really think you should think about this. And so I just think that sometimes people see things in you that you don't see yourself. And I would echo that to my staff and to the students that maybe you don't see yourself long term, going into the medical field or pursuing a degree in counseling or becoming a nurse or a doctor, but your teachers may. And they can inspire you, they can point you in the right direction, they can mentor you and guide you so that you're prepared for that next step.
Absolutely love that. Love that. And it's so true, right? It's one person seeing something in us that we might not see in ourselves. And it just changes everything, the total trajectory of our life. One little encouragement, and who knows where it comes from. A teacher, a parent, a counselor, a coach, a friend, and those little, like you said, seeds, they over time they grow. So it's I think that's what a beautiful final thought. Maureen, Taggart. Oh no, go ahead, you were going to add more.
I was going to add one more
I
thing,
can say, I can
and that
feel it.
is if there is anyone out there that is struggling in any way, please reach out for help. There's help there. There are people there. Find somebody that you can talk to, whether it's a friend, a neighbor, a parent, a teacher, a principal, a superintendent. Find somebody and reach out for help. There's no need to be ashamed. There are people there just waiting to help you get through whatever it is that you're struggling with.
Love that. Couldn't have said it better myself. Maureen Taggart, thank you so much for being with us today. You're a rock
Thank
star.
you.
And I hope you still play the saxophone and the drums from time to time.
I still have my saxophone.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you
Perfect.
so much.
Thanks for being with us.
Mhm.